All right, people. So today we're going to talk about how to stop seeking validation from other people and validate your own self. One of the most important things in life is learning how to become your own source of positive emotions, where you learn to tap into the ecosystem of positivity that every human being has, but that every most humans have lost that ability because there are easier ways and cheaper ways to feel good about ourselves. Ways that don't really penetrate deeply enough to the point where it bombs our spirit, but enough to give the superficial sense that you feel good, the superficial sense of superiority. Unfortunately, those types of validation tends to be more corroding, tends to actually hurt us than improve. It tends to create more of a stronger ego, which then creates more insecurity underneath the surface. So we're going to talk about a few different topics today. One, what's the source of your desire for validation? What are some of the tools that evolution has given humans to feel better about ourselves? What are the source and the origins of defensiveness, and how to liberate yourself from that pattern? Because within us, everyone has the capacity to break the wheel. Everyone has the capacity to tap into their ecosystem of positive emotions. And once you're able to do that, you'll notice that life just becomes easier. Your personality shines through. You become more likable. You start to attract people into your life. People will begin to associate you with positivity, and you have more influence. And above all, you're just gonna feel better about yourself. I've learned how to do this, and the truth is that learning how to validate yourself is not easy. And the way I see it is that the hardest path is usually the best path when it comes to this. The quick path, the quick routes are usually not the best ones. So let's talk about this, right? Now, if you guys ever want to learn how to do this, you guys can purchase my course, Emotional Mastery. Like, literally, that course is meant to teach you how to validate yourself, right? And it's a 5-week course on how to create a meditation practice and learn how to find happiness from within. Because once you do that, once you find happiness from within, you stop reaching in other directions. So let's learn how to do that. All right, guys, we're going to have a brief intermission so that I can tell you guys about our new bundle that we're doing, where you guys can purchase all of my courses and get it at a discount. So this bundle is pretty much the bundle where you could just buy all of my courses. You could buy Nice Guy, which is a training course on how to come across more assertive, how to come across more confident, how to not give off nice guy vibes. You guys can get access to Dark Game, which is my full dating course on how to meet women in different scenarios, how to attract women, how to make sure you don't come across as creepy, and essentially how to act like a man and not act like a doofus, to be quite honest with you. And you get all of these bonuses, which is the bonuses of Dark Game, the bonuses of Practical Mastery, which is about how to master a skill, Social Mastery, which is how to master your social life, and the Laws of Human Nature, which is a book club videos that I had dissecting Robert Greene's book. All of this is naturally at around 238 200 no naturally is at $346, but you guys can purchase this bundle and get it at what's the price again? Get it at 238 pretty much. So you guys can purchase it right now. It's a money back 30-day money back guarantee. It's a good way to, rather than just buying them individually and paying extra, you guys can just purchase everything at a discount price. Now, the only thing I don't like is the fact that I'm giving you a lot of information at the same time. That makes me kind of scared, because a lot of times people don't do the things that I teach when you get too much information. But I've gotten too many requests to do this, so I'm just satisfying you guys. Purchase it right now by clicking on the description down below where it says purchase the bundle. All right, let's continue with the video. So every human has a need for validation, especially as children. Children in particular need to be validated. And that type of validation is the validation that they exist. If you don't validate a child's existence, they will eventually die, right? That's been proven. You need to make eye contact with those little things, or else they die, and then you get in trouble. Fucking crazy, right? So the need for validation is equal to your level of happiness and security. The more unhappy, the more insecure you feel, the deeper the desire for validation. The desire for validation is not a conscious thing. You're not aware of it. But what you are aware of is the need for security and your desire to be happy. If you are unhappy and you feel insecure in terms of socially or where you stand in life, I could promise you, you have behavior that are validating seeking. Why? Because it's an automatic mechanism inside of you. When you don't feel secure, humans have been wired to seek security in the group, in fitting in.
The desire to fit in is a common human inclination that stems from our basic need for social acceptance and belonging. It is natural for individuals to want to be part of a group, community, or society, as it provides a sense of identity, connection, and security. There are several reasons why the need to fit in is prevalent. Firstly, humans are social beings by nature, and we have evolved to live in groups. Throughout history, being part of a community has played a crucial role in survival, providing protection, resources, and support. Therefore, our brains are wired to seek acceptance from others, as it increases the likelihood of survival and success. Additionally, fitting in often brings emotional gratification. When we are accepted by others, we experience feelings of validation, approval, and self-worth. This positive reinforcement reinforces the desire to conform to societal norms and expectations. On the contrary, rejection or exclusion can lead to negative emotions such as sadness, loneliness, and a diminished sense of self-esteem. External validation plays a significant role in how we perceive ourselves and our self-worth. We tend to place a higher value on the opinions, judgments, and validation we receive from others, rather than relying solely on our own self-opinion. This is because external validation is seen as objective evidence of our worthiness and acceptance within a social context. We may seek approval from others to validate our choices, actions, appearance, or beliefs, as it provides reassurance and a sense of belonging.
And what you don't notice is that this desire for validation comes with a pattern. It comes with a behavior pattern. For example, me, when I desire validation, I'm usually a giver. I'll give you things. I'll try to make you happy. I'll create art for you. I'll do something and give it to you to see your reaction. I'll buy you a fucking donut. I don't give a fuck, right? That's just how I am. Taken to the extreme, then you become an emotional giver, an emotional leash, somebody who desperately needs to give to get in return. Some people, they get their validation and they learn to get validation. They gotta put people down, or you start chasing and you become super submissive to your partners. The mechanism of how you seek validation is different, but it is a consistent pattern. And you have to be aware of those patterns, because those patterns are so automatic that you're not aware of it. You're not aware that you have patterns that come whenever you feel a need of validation. And so it keeps you in the dark and you can never fix it because of it. Awareness of the pattern is usually the first step, but let's keep going. That's why a lot of the clients that I get, they know what to do, but they can't. Why? Because a pattern has been triggered. And the only way you feel like this triggering process can go away and you can feel at ease is for you to complete the pattern. So I get those calls and you're like, I can't stop chasing them. I'm like, it's because right now you're in a pattern. Right now you're in a routine that you're always in, and in order for you to feel good, you need to complete this pattern. Like a drug addict, that in order for them to feel good, they need to go through this ritual of doing drugs. The anxiety triggers the ritual, and the ritual for some people is different. The ritual of validation means double texting, triple texting, begging, crying, bitching, moaning, playing the victim. Once you complete the pattern, then the desire for validation goes dormant into the next time it gets triggered. And each time it goes dormant, it comes back, and it always comes back with new strength. because the suppression, it feeds on the suppression. It feeds on your lack of awareness of it. And this need for validation is there for good reasons. So the more uncontrollable emotions you have, the more you automatically cling to validation. And those uncontrollable emotions usually are fear and anxiety, right? The fear of being alone, the fear of being ostracized, the fear of not fitting in. And this is all unconscious. You're not aware of this. It's very hard to be aware of stuff like this. But the human animal has developed a mechanism to resolve that, and that's the self-image. From an early age, we rely on attention. We do everything for attention. We crave validation, but we can't depend on others for this. So we learn to create a self-image that validates us from within. This helps us deal with our negative qualities and find ways to deal with them in a positive way. When we feel down, we go to this self-image that makes us feel good about ourselves, and it validates us. It's almost like our internal hype man. This self-image is like a thermostat, here to help us when we feel down. We don't depend on others for self-esteem. We have it from within, right? And unfortunately, some kids, as children, didn't develop that, right? But how did they develop that? Well, as children, our parents encouraged us to be independent. If we had healthy parents, if we had narcissistic parents or parents who are codependent, you never really develop that self-image, and that's why our childhood is so important. Then our self-image takes root and it grows slowly. So it's pretty much based on the reaction that your parents had to your distress and how much your parents encouraged independence. Other people's opinions also is a way to validate ourselves. In fact, when we step out of childhood, the number one source of self-esteem generally is from other people's reactions to us. There is no easier way to give a child healthy self-esteem than giving that little kid positive feedback from his peers and friends. It's that simple. But unfortunately, most people don't get it, right? This self-image is what we use to uplift ourselves. This valve is the second deepest level of self-esteem. So the first level of self-esteem that we tend to feel is other people's opinions, right? People telling us we're good looking, people telling us we're worthy. The second level is what we do with what they tell us and how we see ourselves when we are alone, right? That is the second level of self-esteem. And that second level of self-esteem is what pretty much most people have in order to feel good about themselves. It's how they view themselves. Are they losers? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they attractive? Are they not? And this self-image can be molded. This self-image can be shaped around. That's the beauty of it. And I'm going to show you how to do that, right? Now, the deepest level of self-esteem is presence, is the awareness of yourself. It's the awareness of being aware, that deep level, the silent witness that brings happiness and joy to you by simply acknowledging your awareness. Like people don't understand is that the reason why we rely on validation from other people and the reason why we need the self-image is because all of those things produce positive emotions. And these positive emotions only happen out of reacting to an object, and that object is people's reaction, and that object is your self-image, right? Those are all mind-made objects. This level of self-esteem that I'm talking to you about is not an object. It is a pure awareness.
Imagine you're standing in front of two different types of mirrors. One mirror reflects your self-esteem based on external reactions, and imagine you're standing in front of two different types of mirrors. One mirror reflects your self-esteem based on external reactions and validations, while the other mirror reflects a self-esteem that emerges from a state of pure awareness and presence. In the first mirror, your self-esteem is like a roller coaster ride. It fluctuates depending on how others perceive and react to you. It's like a reflection that constantly changes based on external influences, such as compliments, criticism, and social approval. This type of self-esteem is fragile because it relies on external stimulation and validation. Now let's turn to the second mirror. This mirror represents a different kind of self-esteem, one that is independent of external factors. It is rooted in pure awareness and presence. When you gaze into this mirror, you don't see a reflection of how others perceive you, but rather a reflection of your inner self, free from...
It's what the Buddha experienced, pretty much. It's what the Buddha experienced. It's what all the sages, any enlightened individual has experienced, this deep reality. It is a very weird... I'm not enlightened, but I've had glimpses of it, and it doesn't feel like you are yourself anymore, and that's uncomfortable, but it's liberating at the same time.
From external influences. The self-esteem that arises from pure awareness is like a gentle stream that flows from within you. It's not dependent on the opinions or reactions of others. Instead, it originates from a self-generating process that comes from simply being aware of your sensations, thoughts, and emotions without judgment or attachment.
It self-generates. You don't have to work to create it. You don't have to ask someone to create it. It's self-generated when you start the process of meditation. The moment you start meditating, you're going to start generating those positive emotions. And then you don't need any thought to create those emotions. And that's the part that people just have a hard time accepting, that you don't need nothing to feel good. You could just have high self-esteem by just being aware of your awareness.
Just as an artist creates a masterpiece by observing and connecting with their materials, the self-esteem that emerges from awareness is created through a similar process. By bringing your attention to the present moment, you become attuned to the sensations in your body, the thoughts in your mind, and the emotions within you. This heightened awareness allows you to appreciate yourself as you are, without needing external validation or reaction. The self-esteem that stems from awareness is like a wellspring that nourishes your sense of worth and value independently of outside influences. It's a deep knowing and acceptance of yourself, rooted in the present moment and untethered from the fluctuations of external circumstances. By cultivating this type of self-esteem, you can experience a sense of inner stability, confidence, and authenticity. It empowers you to navigate life with a grounded sense of self, regardless of how others react or respond. It's a self-esteem that is true to who you are, independent of external stimulation, and based on the continual process of bringing awareness to your own experience.
You are learning to self-generate joyful emotions out of pure nothing. And that is uncomfortable for the ego, because it doesn't validate it. It is not validating its existence. And that's the goal that I want you guys to go towards. Having self-esteem from a place of presence. The deepest level. This level doesn't require objects of the mind for a change of state. It only requires connection to reality that at first hurts and bombs soon afterwards. For example, let's just say you feel bad, right? And now you have a few options how to feel good. Ask your friends, hey, am I a good person? And they tell you you're a good person. You feel good, right? Now, let's just say you feel bad. And then you look back at your life and say, okay, I'm actually a pretty cool person. I remember that I did this, that I did that, that I did that. And now your reaction to that object brings happiness, right? It changed your state. Those two types of validations is object oriented. This type of validation is you feel bad, but now you breathe, or you scan your body through a body scan meditation. Keep scanning your body. And what happens is that your brain chemistry changes. It actually calms the mind whenever you focus on an object of your awareness that is not mind made. You're just aware of breath. And you'll notice after a few minutes, you feel good about yourself. You feel happy. It's the equivalent of cold that's air conditioner and cold that's outside. They're both cold, but both feel different. The cold that's air conditioned is the validation you feel from objects. The cold that comes from a place of presence is the natural cold you feel outside, where there's more diversity in the cold. Or better yet, it's almost like the light in your house that's very limited, and that is only a very limited spectrum, versus the light of the sun that has an unlimited spectrum. That's the type of happiness that I refer to. The happiness that comes from objects and the happiness that comes from pure awareness. The problem is that the happiness that comes from pure awareness does not come with ego validation. And we're so used to ego validation. It's almost like people who are only used to getting their H2O through soda. We're used to getting our happiness through non-nutritious means, which is our ego, which is soda. And what I'm telling you is drink the water. Learn to find happiness from awareness. It's not that it doesn't have that extra spike of the ego, but it is better for you. And if you don't learn how to find validation from the deepest level of your awareness, there's always going to be an undercurrent of anxiety and insecurity. And all of those other two levels, which is your self-image and other people's validation, it's always going to be infected by you never really finding peace from the deepest level of your being. And so it's going to cause you to get defensive. Now, what's the source of defensiveness? Because defensiveness causes people to seek validation even harder, right? What constitutes a living organism is barriers that's outside and inside, right? And a living organism has barriers from the outside and inside, right? And it creates, and those barriers usually is fatty acids or oils and stuff like that. It creates an ecosystem. Then as a child, you develop self-awareness, and now you want space, right? So you're an organism, and when you're an organism, you develop a natural barrier between yourself and the world, and you call yourself an individual. But then when you're a child, you naturally don't have those barriers with your parents, right? You want to cling to your parents because you feel defenseless. You feel like you rely on them. But then you build competence because of their care for you, right? And then you develop self-awareness, and now you want space. Then after that develops into, so this desire for space then develops then into a value system that you have. And as a result, this value system also comes with personal dignity. You don't like to feel used or manipulated, right? You don't like to feel controlled because you feel like you are an individual. So as you see, the individualization process naturally comes with some defensive qualities that it's okay to have. But when you get in an insecure state, a natural state of mind becomes toxic or cancerous. As we get older, these defensive qualities turns into a system to deal with the criticism and praises of life. But there comes a point when they calm down. This feeling of validation that comes through people or being in the group is addictive and keeps people coming back for more. This happens most when we're in love. We feel secure. We don't feel the need to look outside, and so we get creative and we pursue passions and such. But usually people in the situations where they're in a state of want, and so they're very self-absorbed that they can't see past their noses. People sense your frustration and thus get defensive around you, right? So this defensive quality tends to push people away. And by you pushing people away, it isolates you even more. The isolation causes fear and anxiety, and as a result, you want to be seen and noticed. And so then you feel the need to do things to get people's validation, to get people's good reaction. And so you grow dependent on that cheap source of self-esteem. And so you build a self-image, an artifice that takes your whole life to build. But in reality, that artifice is built out of nothing. It's built out of shitty material. Is built out of something that will crumble as soon as somebody says the wrong thing. So how do you develop something that's sustainable, that has deep roots and foundation, and that could take a few hits, that could take your reality shifting, that could take the death of a loved one, that could take somebody insulting how you look, your weight, your image, your reputation? How do you build that? Well, one, you developing a positive self-image, right? We can't control the reactions we've gotten from our parents, so we got to forget about that. We got to focus on what's in front of us. First, start developing a visualization process where you start visualizing yourself, how you want to be in the future. There's a book called Psycho-cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. Go find the original version and read that book. But in summary of that book, this is what he says. Everyone has a self-image, and the beauty about this self-image is that it could be changed and morphed around. And the way that you change it is for 10 minutes a day, imagine the person you want to be. How do you want to act? How do you want to see yourself? How do you want others to see yourself? And start visualizing yourself in the future, how you want to act. See it from a first person's perspective, and then see it from a third person's perspective. Visualize that 10 minutes a day. You don't have to visualize it clearly with a lot of detail. Just visualize it. Studies show that if you visualize it with too much detail, it doesn't come to fruition. That's fucking crazy. That's ironic as hell, but that's what I've seen. So just visualize it 10 minutes a day. Do it for 30 days in a row. See what happens. What would happen is that if you start visualizing yourself as, let's just say you're lazy and you have no motivation, start visualizing yourself as a hard worker, as somebody who's motivated, as somebody who's passionate. Keep visualizing that every day. 10 minutes a day, twice a day. What you're gonna notice is that that image, you're gonna start believing it, and you're gonna start anticipating yourself behaving that way. The anticipation will come with a surge of good emotions, because the anticipation creates dopamine, and that dopamine is a surge of positive emotions along with energy, and so that energy will lead to action, and then the action itself builds self-esteem. And you keep doing that over time. The more you visualize, the more you're gonna feel. The more you feel, the more you act. The more you act, the more you're gonna self-validate yourself. And that's how you build a momentum of positive self-esteem, through you giving yourself an image, interacting with it, smiling at it, and feeling good about yourself. Now,
According to Maxwell Maltz, the concept of self-image refers to the mental picture or perception an individual has of themselves. It is the lens through which we view ourselves and influences our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and overall sense of identity. Maltz suggests that our self-image is not fixed, but can be shaped and modified. He argues that each time we create or recall successful feelings and experiences, our subconscious mind records them and imprints them into our self-image. In other words, our self-image is not only based on past experiences, but can also be influenced and upgraded by consciously focusing on positive aspects of ourselves. Maltz emphasizes that our self-image plays a crucial role in determining our behavior and the trajectory of our lives. He suggests that if we want to bring about change and achieve our goals, we need to align our self-image with our desired outcomes. By changing our self-image, we can transform our personality and behavior, ultimately leading to personal growth and success. The idea behind Maltz's concept of self-image is that our beliefs and perceptions about ourselves can be powerful determinants of our capabilities and potential. By cultivating a positive self-image, we can overcome self-limiting beliefs, improve self-confidence, and unlock our true potential. It is important to note that Maltz's ideas on self-image are presented in his book, Psycho-cybernetics, which explores the connection between the mind and self-perception. While his theories have gained popularity and have been influential in the field of personal development, it's essential to approach them critically and consider other perspectives as well.
Now, that's one way. Go read the book Psycho-cybernetics. The next way to do it is through meditation process, right? The first meditation process is called the loving kindness meditation. So the way you do this is like this, and I even made a video about it, but the reason why this works is because studies have shown that this type of meditation literally raises self-esteem like no other meditation. It doesn't, at the speed and how much the results are. Self-love is self-validation, people. Loving other people without seeking anything in return is self-validation.
Self-love is the practice of cultivating a positive and compassionate relationship with oneself. It involves recognizing, accepting, and valuing oneself for who we are, embracing our strengths and weaknesses, and treating ourselves with kindness and care. One important aspect of self-love is self-validation. Self-validation means acknowledging and affirming our own worth, emotions, and experiences without seeking external approval or validation from others. It is the act of recognizing that our feelings, thoughts, and needs are valid and deserving of acceptance. When we rely solely on external sources for validation, such as seeking love and approval from others, our sense of self-worth becomes contingent on their opinions and reactions. This can be an unstable and unreliable source of validation, as it places our self-esteem in the hands of others. In contrast, self-validation allows us to take ownership of our self-worth and generate love and acceptance from within. It involves developing a healthy and supportive inner dialogue, where we acknowledge our accomplishments, forgive ourselves for mistakes, and offer ourselves kindness and understanding. Self-validation is the love we want from others, but it is self-generated. It empowers us to recognize and appreciate our own value, regardless of external validation or criticism. It frees us from the need to constantly seek approval from others, as we learn to trust our own judgment and embrace our inherent worthiness. Developing self-love and self-validation requires practice and self-awareness. It involves challenging self-critical thoughts, practicing self-compassion, setting healthy boundaries, and prioritizing self-care. By consciously choosing to validate and love ourselves, we cultivate a strong foundation of self-esteem and resilience. It's important to note that self-love and self-validation are not about disregarding feedback or refusing to learn and grow from interactions with others. It's about recognizing that our worth does not solely depend on external validation, and that we have the ability to nurture our own self-esteem and self-acceptance. By embracing self-love and practicing self-validation, we become more resilient, confident, and fulfilled individuals. We are better equipped to navigate life's challenges, cultivate healthier relationships, and lead a more authentic and fulfilling existence.
Giving people the love you want to get is self-validation. So the way you do it is this. You sit down, put sentimental music if you want. I don't give a fuck. I put Titanic music. And then I do this visualization. Why? Because this music makes me feel good. It gives me emotion, okay? It gives me the warm, fuzzy feelings. If heavy metal does that shit for you, go ahead and do that. Put whatever you could to make the emotion stronger, right? Okay. So then you start visualizing this. Imagine you, right, when you were in your most needed state of mind, when you needed support. And then imagine somebody that you love. And then imagine somebody who is like a teacher or somebody that you care about that's not a family member. And then imagine somebody that you are indifferent about. And then imagine somebody that you hate, right? Go in that order. And what you're going to do is wish them the best. So you're going to say three things. I wish you, may you be happy, may you be loved, and may you be at peace. See that in your mind. Repeat that as long for each person, for each of the 5 categories. Repeat that and repeat it with as much passion as you can. Put your body into it. Put your body into it, and go and do that 3 or 4 times, going through each person one time. What you're gonna notice is that after the meditation, you're gonna notice you feel more energy, you feel happier, birds are chirping happier. Heck, they might even be singing a song, the Hakuna Matata. I don't give a fuck. But you start visualizing that, and that will start giving you positive emotions. Whenever you feel down, whenever you feel the need for validation, do this visualization and validate them. What you really are doing is that you're interacting with different parts of your personality, different parts of your psyche, in the form of other people. The people who that's why I'm telling you. And loving kindness, it's called loving kindness meditation, metta meditation. Do it for 30 days. And if you don't feel good, I'm like, you're gonna have to look into your heart to see whether or not there's something there, because this meditation works. This has been shown multiple times. So whenever you feel bad, just give it a 30-day trial. Make that, you know how people feel bad and then they smoke a cigarette? Just do this for 30 days. Anytime you feel bad, do this meditation and see what happens, all right? Now, the next meditation is just normal breathing meditation, or any meditation that you could find. The point is, sit your butt down, and let's just say you could only meditate for 5 minutes. Good. Do it for 20 minutes. I want you to be uncomfortable. I want you to sit and meditate and be so uncomfortable you want to get up now. And I want you to not move and keep noticing the breath. Because studies show when you do things that you don't want to do every day, you get happier. Your self-esteem rises because you're doing something difficult. And even though it hurts, when you finish it, you feel good about yourself. So that's why I do a 1-hour meditation most mornings, right? I just sit down and do a 1-hour meditation. Boom. Right? I fucking hate that shit. I'm not gonna lie. I fucking hate that shit. But once I'm done, I feel good about myself. Those things add up over months, over weeks and months. And it adds up to having self-esteem that comes from your actions, right?
Engaging in tasks that we actively don't want to do and persisting until completion can have a profound impact on our brain and psyche. It is important to tackle the unwantable because it challenges our comfort zones, strengthens our resilience, and promotes personal growth. For example, taking up activities like meditating more than usual or doing a workout we hate. When we voluntarily engage in challenging tasks that we don't enjoy, our brain undergoes a process called cognitive restructuring. This involves rewiring neural connections and forming new patterns of thinking. By pushing through discomfort and resistance, we train our brain to become more adaptable and flexible in handling difficult situations. This heightened mental agility can lead to improved problem-solving skills and emotional regulation. Moreover, engaging in unwantable tasks can enhance our sense of happiness and self-esteem. Accomplishing something that we initially didn't want to do provides a sense of achievement and boosts our self-confidence. It demonstrates our ability to overcome obstacles and reinforces a positive belief in our capabilities. This, in turn, can lead to a greater sense of self-worth and satisfaction, ultimately contributing to our overall happiness. Additionally, taking on challenging tasks that we don't naturally enjoy can broaden our horizons and expand our personal development. It allows us to discover hidden strengths, develop new skills, and gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. By pushing outside our comfort zones, we become more resilient and open to growth. This increased self-awareness and personal growth contribute to our overall well-being and sense of fulfillment.
So meditation, right? So, or just having a deep meditation, practice. And this is why I recommend you go to meditation retreats. That's the best way to get it, right? You could go to meditation retreats where you pay money, or you could go to dharma.org. Like, just go to Google and put Dharma Buddhist 10-day meditation retreat, and it's free. You go to those retreats, and I can promise you know what I'm talking about. Your self-esteem will rise from those retreats because you're learning how to relax, how to control your emotions when you're in a situation that you just want to get the fuck out. Honestly, you want to get the fuck out the first few days. But by you staying and doing the meditation they teach you, you learn to feel good without a reason. And that's the whole point. You learn to because in your body there is a mechanism to feel good for no fucking reason. There is. You just don't use it because you never learned, and it's not comfortable to learn that. It's a little uncomfortable to, like, we're so used to holding on to mind-made objects and to seeing people's reactions to feel good about ourselves, that when we find something that allows us to feel good without doing anything other than breathing or anything other than bringing awareness, it's a little weird. It really is. For example, a few weeks ago, something bad happened, and I feel really bad. And in my mind, I'm like, man, I have no right to feel good because this shit happened. I started scanning my body. All of a sudden, I started feeling good, but I felt guilty. I'm like, wait, how am I feeling so happy and yet this happened? That's the ego. The ego's like, hey, motherfucker, you should be sad. And I'm telling you to be sad. Why are you feeling happy? And then the ego's like, oh my God, this person doesn't need me. The ego notices that you don't use it to feel good. You don't use it to avoid pain. It knows that you have now another channel. It's like having another drug dealer. And your old drug dealer knows now you have a new dealer. And it knows now it's losing power over you because you don't depend on them no more. You get your cracks from somewhere else, right? And you're learning to tap into that good feeling through simply noticing the breath. And I can promise you, it's uncomfortable. You're going to feel like someone is dying. And that thing is your ego. And so this is how you build up true self-esteem. And this self-esteem that comes from pure presence, it's a little uncomfortable at first because you're so used to having things to feel good about that whenever you notice that just noticing the breath or scanning the body makes you feel good, you're like, okay, it's almost like I'm used to paying for happiness through getting people's validation, and now I'm getting happiness without paying for it. It feels weird, but that's how you do it. Look, people, this is how you do it, people. How you find self-validation. You're validating yourself, and your self-esteem, your how you feel about yourself is not based on a thought. It's not based on I feel good because I succeeded in this. No, your happiness, your self-esteem comes from a place of just awareness. Your By bringing awareness to sensation, it creates positive emotions inside of you, and you don't need to repeat a word or think of a thought to keep that positive emotion there. All you need to do is just keep awareness of the breath, or keep scanning the body and keep meditating, and that feeling stays there, and you don't need a thought or somebody to tell you to feel good. That's self-validation. And the beauty about it is that it adds upon itself. Momentum will become your friend, and all of a sudden the happiness you feel will double by the weeks and months. That the peace that you feel will get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, to the point that you're gonna forget the old way of being happy, and this is gonna be your natural state of mind. And people are gonna notice the difference. They're gonna notice the difference, because when you do this, what naturally happens is that you become more altruistic. Your desire to help people increases. Your desire to give without receiving increases. And that, the desire to give to charity, to others, to give of yourself, to help other people, to make other people feel happy, has been shown to be the best thing you could do to feel happy is to give. And what you're noticing is that by meditating, it literally activates parts of your brain that wants to give. So it's almost like it's creating a little factory of workers of happiness, so that you don't need to think about it, because now your desire to help others will make you happy. For example, I walk down the street, and every time I see an opportunity to help an old lady, to help a granny, every time I see an opportunity to help, I try, because it always makes me feel good. Oops, sorry that I'm selfish, motherfucker. Okay, Granny, I want to help you because it makes me feel good. Get out the way, Granny. Let me help you.
There is evidence from studies, neuroscience, and psychology that supports the idea that giving to others without expecting anything in return, and being unselfish even when no one is watching, can raise self-esteem. Studies have shown that engaging in selfless acts of giving activates brain regions associated with reward and positive emotions. For example, a study published in the journal Nature Communications found that individuals who engaged in generous behavior experienced increased activity in the brain's reward center, specifically the ventral striatum, Harbaugh et al., 2007. This neural response reinforces positive feelings and contributes to an enhanced sense of self-worth and well-being. Furthermore, research has demonstrated that acts of kindness and giving can lead to the release of oxytocin, often referred to as the love hormone. Oxytocin is associated with social bonding, trust, and positive emotions. When individuals engage in altruistic behavior, such as giving without expecting anything in return, levels of oxytocin increase, promoting feelings of happiness and satisfaction. Zach et al., 2007. Psychologically, performing acts of kindness and being unselfish can bolster self-esteem through the concept of moral identity. When individuals act in line with their values and exhibit prosocial behavior, it strengthens their perception of themselves as compassionate and caring individuals. Aquino and Reed II, 2002. This alignment between actions and values enhances self-esteem and self-concept. Additionally, studies have found a positive correlation between acts of giving and subjective well-being. Engaging in selfless acts has been associated with increased life satisfaction, happiness, and overall psychological well-being. Dunn et al., 2008. These positive emotions contribute to a heightened sense of self-esteem.
So this is genuine, and you don't need other people to see the good deeds, because the good deed validates you from within. And so you could just be walking around whistling like a happy white person, and you feel good. And you don't need to put people down. You don't need to gain this or that, or get that, or lose this or that to feel good, because you learn to validate yourself from within. All right. Anyways, if you guys want to learn how to do that, go to mindfulattraction.org. Check out our courses, or work with me one-on-one, or you can check out the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle to teach you how to do that. go to a 10-day meditation retreat. If anybody has ever done one, let people know in the comments down below to encourage them. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.